Hello, my wonderful, amazing artists. It's me, Miss Abby, your art teacher. And today we are getting inspired by the tradition of gingerbread houses. Now, a lot of people this time of year, they get out their frosting, their candy, gingerbread, and they build gingerbread houses. And today we're going to do a drawing inspired by that. Now, what's interesting about gingerbread houses is that you're kind of, when you're making one, you're thinking like an architect about designing a building. But you're also thinking of like a baker and using icing and, candy and all tasty, tasty things. So it's kind of a fun combination of two different art forms, baking and confectionery and patisserie, and architecture to create something really delicious. So today we're going to make a drawing inspired by that. We're going to create a building made out of candy and desserts, whether that's a donut, skyscraper, a gingerbread house, or a birthday cake haunted house. It's up to you. We're bringing together desserts and buildings together. Here's one example I made of so your art challenge today, using whatever supplies you got. I've got papers and watercolor pencils and pastels. So use whatever supplies you have to bring together dessert and building to create a building made of desserts. So here's one example. I found a grocery store bag and I chopped it up and I made this drawing of a gingerbread house. And now I'm going to use my oil pastels and my watercolor pencils to create another drawing. I want to remind my friends at home that when you're using either oil pastels like this or a crayon on a piece of paper, and then you brush watercolor paints or watercolor pencil over lines done in crayon or oil pastel, they're gonna shine through and repel the watercolor from being absorbed. So we'll see that in action today, and it'll be really fun. Let's get started. Okay, so I sketched out my idea for my dessert architecture design, and I used a pencil so that I can erase. And again, now I'm going to use oil pastel, but you can do the same thing with crayons to do all my lines. Then I'm going to use watercolor to paint it in. Let's get into it. Okay, so I covered all my lines using my oil pastel. You can use crayons the same way. Now I'm going to use watercolor, but I don't have watercolor palettes with me today. So I'm going to go into my colored pencil bag and look. And as you can see, this colored pencil says watercolor on it. That means that we can use them in a way that's similar to watercolor pencils. So I've got my cup with some water and my pencil, and I've got my brushes ready to go. And I'm going to finish this drawing. Okay, I roughly sketched out. As you can see, it's pretty scratchy. That's because I'm going to use my paintbrush to smooth out this color. Ready? Watch this. I've got a regular old plain water. I've got a brush. I'm dipping it in, and the tip of my brush is nice and wet and shiny. Then I'm blending out the brown. I'm doing circles, but I don't know, you can also do lines. And as you can see, it kind of blends and spreads out that brown watercolor. And remember, with watercolor on paper, you have to really pay attention and spread out any of those little, any puddles you see, because they can rip a hole in the bottom of your paper. So you've got to work carefully and spread out puddles and be careful. But I know we can do it because we're amazing. See how that works? And the oil pastel is still shining through. Ta-da! Here is my dessert architecture project, and I'm going to place it down very carefully because it is still wet. But mine was inspired by gingerbread houses, but also the game Candyland, and I added lollipops, donuts, pretzels, I guess, candy canes, and peppermint sticks, and Twizzlers. So I added all my favorite candies to the project. And I'm excited to see what you come up with. Let's put together our favorite candies into our own cool, awesome building. Our favorite desserts. Bye! Have fun getting inspired by desserts and architecture. Bye!